Hey, tonight you aren't in your bed. You're in a dark, silent chamber. The air is thick with the smell of dust and ancient incense. You have just died. You think the Egyptian afterlife was a golden paradise? Try imagining soul-devouring monsters and lakes of fire. The papyrus scroll, clutched in your spirit hand. The Book of the Dead isn't a holy book. It's your only ticket through this nightmare. And a single scribal error in its text could cause you to vanish forever. By the end of this journey, you'll understand why, for the ancient Egyptians, death wasn't the end. It was a brutal fight for survival, perhaps even more terrifying than life itself. What time is it where you are right now? It's always fascinating to see who's joining us from around the world. And if you enjoy these strange, quiet dives into the past, maybe hit subscribe. It means more to this small channel than you know. Now dim the lights. Let your body sink into the mattress. Maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum. You are no longer in control. You are in history's underworld, and the underworld doesn't care if you're afraid. The air in the tomb is thick and still. It's not the silence of a sleepless night. It is the deep, heavy silence of tons of stone and sand that lie between you and the world of the living. You no longer breathe, and yet you are aware of this air. It smells of natron, the salt that dried your earthly form. It smells of resin and oil, the sacred things that were anointed onto every layer of your linen wrappings. And beneath it all, there is the faint, fading scent of you, the scent of a life now concluded. You are drifting. It's the only word for the sensation, a feeling of weightless, aimless suspension. You look down and you see it, the cot, your physical body. It lies there regal and inert, inside its stone sarcophagus, arms crossed over its chest, holding the symbols of power that are now meaningless. The golden face, molded in your likeness, looks alien, a placid mask hiding the emptiness within. That is no longer you. That body is just a shell, a vessel that has completed its voyage and now rests in port. You are the Ba, the soul, a human-headed bird, newly freed from its cage of flesh and bone. You can sense another part of yourself, the Ka, your life force, still lingering nearby, attached to the offerings that furnish your eternal home. You spent your entire life preparing for this moment. Every coin earned, every prayer uttered, every action taken was aimed at this, your final home. This tomb is not just stone and mortar. It is a machine, a gateway designed to launch your next journey. On the walls, the colorful paintings are not mere decoration. They are maps, instructions, magical blueprints. There you are offering gifts to Osiris. There you are sailing a skiff across the waters of the underworld. They were painted with the fierce belief that what is depicted becomes real. Around you are the assets of a lifetime. Clay jars filled with wine and grain in case you feel hunger or thirst on your journey. A model of a wooden boat with tiny oarsmen ready to carry you across the rivers of the Duat. And the small clay figures, the Shabti, hundreds of them standing in silent rows, each one holding a promise to answer the call, to labor for you in the field of reeds. But all of it is meaningless without the most important object. You can feel its presence, a dense and powerful weight placed carefully between the legs of your mummified form. The papyrus scroll, the book of coming forth by day. Though you know it by a simpler name, the Book of the Dead. It is not a book. It is a declaration, a collection of necessary lies and magical truths. It is your weapon, your passport, your defense attorney. You paid a fortune for the finest scribe, ensuring every character was clear, every spell complete. You believe in this. Your whole life was shaped by this belief. You believe in the duat, the chaotic and treacherous underworld. You fear the second death, a complete annihilation to be erased from the memory of gods and men, to dissolve into nothing, as if you had never been. It is why you are here. It is why you prepared so meticulously. Belief in Osiris, the king of the dead who was murdered and reborn, gives you hope. Belief in Anubis, the jackal-headed god who will guide and judge you. And belief in Ra, the sun god, who makes this same perilous journey every single night, and whom you hope to join on his boat of 1,000,000 years. But to believe is one thing. To face it is another. You feel a pull. It doesn't come from any direction within the chamber. It comes from below, from deep within the earth. A gentle but irresistible tug, like an unseen current that is beginning to carry you away. The western wall of the tomb. The direction of the setting sun seems to shimmer no longer solid stone, but a curtain of mist. That is the entrance. The underworld is calling your name. You look toward the scroll one last time. A faint blue-green light begins to glow from it, just bright enough for you to make out the first hieroglyphs. It is time. Time to recite the first spell, the spell to open your mouth so that you might speak and defend yourself in the waiting darkness. The silence of the tomb is about to be broken. Your brutal journey has just begun. The pull from the underworld grows stronger. You feel yourself being drawn through the misty veil of the western wall, leaving the stillness of your tomb and entering somewhere else entirely. The darkness here is not like the darkness in the tomb. It is alive. It seems to whisper, filled with sounds you can't identify as skittering at the edge of your hearing, distant echoes of suffering and despair. The air is cold and has a strange metallic scent like an approaching thunderstorm. You want to call out the names of the gods. You want to scream against the fear that is rising in your non-existent chest. But you cannot. Your mouth, though, only a concept in this spirit state, feels sealed shut. A horrifying silence has bound you. Your throat is tight, unable to form a single sound. You realize a terrible truth. You were mummified, you were sealed, and that seal has followed your soul. How can you recite the powerful spells from your Book of the Dead if you cannot speak? How can you name the terrible gatekeepers to pass them by? How can you plead your case before Osiris? Panic begins to creep in. This is the first test, a silent trap that could end your journey before it has even begun. Thousands of souls must have failed here, drifting forever in muteness, watching helplessly as the creatures of the duat come to tear them apart. But you prepared. The scroll in your spirit hand glows with a warmer light. That light shines into your mind, and the hieroglyphs for the first necessary spell appear as if they were carved into your consciousness. It is spell 23, the spell for opening the mouth of the deceased. You don't read it with your lips, for you have none. You read it with your will. You focus your entire being on the ancient words. My mouth is opened by Ptah. You whisper in your mind, your voice echoing only in your soul. My mouth's bonds are loosed by my city god. Thoth has come fully equipped with spells, and he looses the bonds of Seth from my mouth. You repeat the words not with sound, but with a kind of pure energy. You feel a struggle, an unseen pressure around your mouth and jaw. It feels like ice melting like a rusted lock, slowly giving way. I shall open my mouth. You continue power building with each word. My mouth is opened by Ptah, with that chisel of metal with which he opened the mouth of the gods. And then a faint click. Not a physical sound, but a release in your consciousness. The cold air of the duat rushes in, and for the first time you can exhale, though you have no lungs. You test your voice. I. It is faint trembling, but it is yours. It exists. You have passed. Your mouth is open. Now you can speak. You can pray. You can scream. And most importantly, you can recite the spells that will mean the difference between existence and oblivion in this brutal world. You have your weapon back. Your voice, however faint, gives you a sliver of courage. You are no longer a helpless mute. You are an actor, a participant in your own fate. You take a step forward, moving from the entryway into the deeper gloom of the duat. The landscape here is undefined, a shifting chaos of shadow and rock. But you are not alone. You sense them before you see them, figures lurking in the oppressive darkness. They are the executioners of the underworld, the agents of Osiris's harsher justice. They are drawn to the new and the weak. They have no faces, only purpose. You see the glint of a long knife in a monstrous hand. You see the blockish shape of a butcher's slab, slick with something ancient and dark. And you understand their function. They are here to dismember, to take apart the souls who are unworthy, who forget their spells, or who falter in their journey. And their favorite work is decapitation. It is one of your most profound primal fears. In your life on earth, you understood that the head was the seat of the self. It held your name, your memories, your personality. To lose your head was not just to die a second time. It was to have your very identity unmade, to be rendered a nameless, mindless thing, an object to be discarded in the cosmic dust. It was an execution of the soul itself. One of the figures turns its attention toward you. It has no eyes, but you feel its gaze. It is the gaze of a predator that has found its prey. The air grows colder. The creature takes a heavy step in your direction, its blade dragging across the stone floor with a sound that scrapes at your soul. Panic flares again, hot and sharp, but your will is stronger now. You force the fear down and pull the necessary words from your memory, from the light of the scroll. It is spell 43, a declaration of your own integrity. You speak the words into the gloom, your voice gaining strength with defiance. I am the Great One, Son of the Great One. You declare your words, pushing back the darkness. I am fire, the Son of Fire, to whom his head was given back to him after it had been cut off. The executioner pauses. The words have power here. They are a shield. You press on your voice, ringing with conviction. The head of Osiris was not taken from him. Let not the head of your name be taken from me. You speak your own name into the void, a powerful act of self-affirmation. I have knit myself together, you proclaim. I have made myself whole. I have renewed my youth. I am Osiris, the Lord of eternity. By identifying with the resurrected God himself, you claim his protection, his own victory over dismemberment. The shadowy executioner seems to shrink back. The glint of its knife fades. The immediate threat has passed. It turns its blank attention elsewhere, looking for weaker prey. You have not won a battle. You have merely survived a moment. You have asserted your right to be whole. But the duat is a place of endless moments, each with its own terror. Your head is still attached to your shoulders, but the journey has barely begun, and the path ahead is filled with things far worse than a simple blade. Having secured your head and your identity, you move deeper. The path forward leads you to a region where the already warped logic of the duat seems to completely invert itself. You see other souls here, less fortunate ones. They are walking on their hands, their movements clumsy and pathetic. They are moaning with a hunger that will never be satisfied. This is the place of inversion, a punishment zone where the natural order is turned upside down. Here to be hungry is to be fed filth. To be thirsty is to be given urine to drink. It is a place of absolute degradation, designed to break the will of any soul who enters it. It is a psychological torture as much as a physical one. The fear of being reduced to this state of being forced to consume what is disgusting is a profound horror. You feel a pang of hunger, a thirst in your throat, and you realize with dread that you are now subject to the laws of this grotesque place. The smell of waste and decay fills the air. You see a pool of murky, foul liquid that seems to be the only source of water. This is a test of your purity. The Book of the Dead is not just about knowing names and passwords. It is about asserting your nature. You are a blessed spirit, not a scavenger. You must reject this upside-down world. You focus your will and speak the words of power, a spell that is a fierce refusal of this fate. That which I detest, I shall not eat. You declare your voice a shield against the corruption. I shall not eat feces. I shall not drink urine. I shall not walk upside down. The spell is a boundary you draw around yourself. It is a statement of what you are, and more importantly, what you are not. I am the possessor of bread in Heliopolis. You proclaim, invoking the sacred offerings made in the world above. My bread is in the sky with Ra, and my bread is on the earth with Geb. I will not eat what is disgusting to me. As you speak, the unnatural hunger recedes. The foul smell seems to lessen. The souls walking on their hands do not notice you. You are set apart from them by your words. You have asserted your purity and are allowed to pass through this wretched place without being tainted by it. You walk on your own 2 feet, leaving the land of filth behind your dignity intact. But the image of those tormented souls will remain with you, a reminder of what happens when your magic and your will fail. The path elevates, and the oppressive gloom of the Duat gives way to a strange, dark light. You find yourself on the banks of a great black river. Moored there is a magnificent vessel, the solar bark of Ra, the boat of 1,000,000 years. The sun, God himself, in his ram-headed night form, stands at its center, a glowing orb of light pulsing before him. He is on his nightly journey through the underworld to be reborn at dawn. To be on this boat is a great honor, but it is not a peaceful cruise. It is a war. As the boat begins to move down the river of night, the waters churn. A roar so deep it shakes the very essence of your being, echoes from the depths. From the black water rises a serpent of impossible size. Its body is miles long. Its scales are like jagged stone, and its eyes are hypnotic voids of pure chaos. This is Apep, the eternal enemy. He is not merely a monster. He is the embodiment of non-creation, the force that seeks to unmake the world, to swallow the sun, and to plunge everything into permanent darkness. Your role is now clear. You are not a passenger. You are a magical soldier. Every blessed soul on this boat must lend their power to defending Ra. The gods on board raise their spears, but the true weapon is magic. This is one of the ultimate tests. You must recite the spells to repel the great serpent. Get back. You cry out your voice, joining a chorus of other spirits and gods. Crawl away, for I am the male, your power is with me. I have taken possession of your magic, and your power is in my hand. Apep lunges his massive jaws, opening to swallow the boat whole. The light of Ra dims, and a terrifying cold washes over you. I am the one who encircles the heavens. You shout into the face of oblivion, "My knife is firm against you. Your heart shall be cut out. Your coils shall be severed. You will not exist." Your words, empowered by your will, become luminous spears that strike the serpent. Apep shrieks a sound that splits the sky and recoils from the light of the boat. The battle rages on through the hour, a cosmic struggle between creation and non-existence. You fight with all your power, not just for your own survival, but for the survival of the universe itself. Finally wounded and repelled, Apep sinks back into the depths, defeated for now. He will return tomorrow night, as he always does. The light of Ra brightens once more, and the boat sails on. You have faced the ultimate chaos and survived. You have proven yourself a defender of divine order. The journey on the solar bark ends, and you are once again on a dark path. You have passed through one of the 12 hours of the night. Now you must pass through the remaining 11, and each is protected by a massive gate. Before you looms the first. It is a towering structure, a pylon like those of the great temples, but it is made of black stone that seems to drink the light. And before it stands a guardian. It has the body of a man, the head of a jackal, and it wields two long curved knives. It is a terrifying sight, but its appearance is not the true test. To pass you must know three things: the name of the gate itself, the name of the guardian, and the correct words of address. To get any of them wrong means instant destruction, or perhaps worse, being turned away, trapped in this hour of the night forever. You feel the weight of this knowledge. This is not about courage or strength. It is a test of memory and preparation. Your Book of the Dead is your only guide. You access the knowledge within it, the words appearing in your mind. You address the guardian, your voice steady, betraying no fear. "I know you, and I know your name. You are he who lives on maggots." The creature does not flinch. You must continue. You then address the gate itself. "And I know your name. You are Mistress of Fear." Finally, you speak the password, the declaration that proves you are worthy. "I am one who is pure of mouth and pure of hands. Let me pass, for I am known to you." The jackal-headed guardian steps aside. The massive stone doors of the gate swing open with a grinding sound, revealing the path to the next hour of the night. You step through, and the doors slam shut behind you. There is no time for relief. Ahead in the distance, you can already see the silhouette of the second gate with its own monstrous guardian and its own secret names. You have 11 more of these to pass before the final judgment. Each one a new test, a new chance for a fatal mistake. Your mind must remain sharp. As you pass through the third and fourth gates, a new kind of terror begins to surface. It's not a monster or a lake of fire. It's a quiet, internal dread. The names of the guardians are becoming harder to recall. Details of your earthly life, the face of your spouse, the taste of bread, the feeling of the sun on your skin are becoming hazy, like a dream upon waking. The Duat is actively trying to unmake you, not just by force, but by stripping away your memories. To forget your own name is the ultimate disaster. A soul with no name is a soul with no identity, no anchor to existence. It simply dissolves. You feel a wave of psychic dizziness. Who are you? Where did you come from? The panic is suffocating. You are losing yourself. You desperately cling to your purpose and force your mind to focus on the scroll. There is a spell for this very predicament, a way to reassemble a fracturing mind. You recite spell 25. "Let my name be given to me in the great house." You plead to the universe. Let me remember my name in the house of fire on the night of the counting of the years and the telling of the months. You are calling on the cosmic record keepers on the great library of souls to remind you of who you are. The spell is an anchor thrown into the sea of oblivion. I am sitting on the great eastern side of the sky. You affirm placing yourself among the imperishable stars. Let any god who is with me come forth that he may announce my name. Slowly, like a picture coming into focus, it returns. Your name, your life, the love you felt, the struggles you endured, the memories flood back painful and beautiful, and they solidify your sense of self. The fog of amnesia lifts. You are you again. This was a subtle but deadly trap. The duat will attack your body, your courage, and your mind. You have learned that your memory is not a static thing. It is a treasure that must be fiercely guarded at every step of the journey. A new anxiety arises, one that connects you back across the worlds to the silent tomb where your body lies. You have a sudden, horrifying vision of your cot, your preserved mummy. You see it beginning to decay. You imagine insects boring into the linen mold, creeping across the gilded mask, the careful preservation of the embalmers failing. You understand the deep connection. Your Ba, your spirit form, here in the Duat, is linked to your physical body back in the world of the living. If your body is destroyed, your anchor is lost. Your existence in the afterlife becomes precarious. You could fade away. The integrity of your flesh is the foundation of the eternity of your soul. This fear is a form of magical attack. Whether the vision is real or an illusion sent to torment you, you must counter it. You must reaffirm the permanence of your physical form. You turn to one of the most important spells, one that bridges the gap between the two realms. Homage to you, my divine father Osiris. You begin addressing the god who is the master of perfect preservation. You exist with your members. You did not decay. You did not become worms. You did not rot away. You did not become corruption. You are reminding the universe of the divine precedent. If Osiris could be preserved, so can you. And I too shall exist. You declare with force, I shall live, I shall not decay, I shall not rot, I shall not have worms, I shall not see corruption before the eye of the god Shu. I shall have my being, I shall live. You feel a calming sensation, a reassurance that flows from your words. The disturbing vision of your decaying mummy fades. You have magically reinforced the preservation of your earthly vessel. It is safe, and therefore you are safe. Your body will wait for you whole and intact for the day when your Ba and Ka can be reunited with it. It is a strange comfort to know that your eternal fate depends on a fragile, lifeless body resting in a dark room miles and worlds away. Having defended your body, your mind, and your identity, you now begin to learn that the Book of the Dead is not just a shield. It is also a key to unlocking incredible power. The path ahead requires more than just endurance. It requires adaptability. You come to a vast, murky swamp. To cross it as a humanoid spirit would be slow and dangerous, exposing you to hidden things lurking in the water. But you are not limited to that form anymore. The scroll in your mind opens to a new series of spells, the spells of transformation. You are not just a soul to be judged, you are a magician. You choose your first form. You recite the spell to become a golden hawk. I have risen up, you chant, feeling your form shimmer and change. I have gathered myself together as a divine hawk. I have appeared as a hawk which has a Horus back. Your perspective shifts. You are soaring above the swamp, your keen eyes seeing everything. You are no longer prey. You are a predator, a sacred symbol of the god Horus. You cross the swamp in moments and land on the far side, transforming back into your spirit form. The possibilities are intoxicating. You learn the spell to become a lotus flower, a symbol of rebirth and creation, able to float on the darkest waters. I am the pure lotus which has come forth from the field of Ra. You learn to become a serpent, the creature of the earth, able to slither through cracks and hear the secrets of the ground. You learn to become the great Bennu bird, the phoenix, a creature of fire and renewal. Each transformation gives you a new strength, a new way to perceive and navigate the dangers of the duat. This is a profound secret of the afterlife. Survival is not just about holding on to who you were, but about having the power to become something else entirely. Your path leads you to the edge of a vast lake, but it is not filled with water. It is filled with fire. The heat is immense, a dry, searing presence that threatens to incinerate your spirit form. On the far side, you can see the gates leading to the final judgment hall of Osiris, but this impossible obstacle lies between you and your goal. You see other souls hesitate at the shore. Some in their terror try to rush through and are instantly consumed, their screams dissolving into the roaring flames. Others are turned away by knife-wielding baboons who guard the lake's perimeter, judging them unworthy to even attempt the crossing. This is a place of ultimate purification. The fire does not burn the righteous. For the soul who knows the correct spells, whose heart is pure, the fire is cool and nourishing. For everyone else, it is annihilation. This is a test of faith as much as knowledge. You must trust in your preparations and in the magic you have learned. You stand at the edge of the inferno, the heat washing over you, and you recite the incantation meant for this very place. O you who are in charge of this lake, you call out your voice calm and clear over the roar of the flames. O you who are in this fire, see that I am pure. I am the bull of the sky, and what I detest is to be burned. You declare your invulnerability, your right to pass unharmed. You speak the secret names of the guardians, the baboons, and they lower their knives. You take the first step. You place your foot into the fire. It does not burn. It feels like stepping into cool water on a hot day. The flames lick at your form, but they are harmless cleansing. They burn away any remaining impurities, any lingering fear or doubt. You walk across the lake of fire, the flames parting before you, your spirit shining with a new purity. You emerge on the other side whole and renewed. You have faced the ultimate trial by fire and have been found worthy. The gates of the Hall of Judgment are now open before you, and you know the most difficult part of your journey is about to begin. After the intensity of the fiery lake, you find yourself in a narrow, constricting passage. The walls seem to close in, and the air, which was never truly air, becomes thick, heavy, and impossible to draw in. You feel a familiar primal panic, suffocation. Even as a spirit, the need for breath, for space, is deeply ingrained. To be trapped, to be smothered, is a fundamental terror. The Duat uses this against you, creating a zone of crushing claustrophobia. It feels as if you are being buried alive all over again, but this time there is no escape. Your spirit form feels weak. Your thoughts grow cloudy from the lack of air. You are being squeezed out of existence. Once again, you must rely on your magical knowledge to survive a basic physical threat. You search your memory for the spell to command air, to create your own space in this suffocating place. O you autumn, give me the sweet breath which is in your nostril. You plead, invoking the great Creator God. I am the egg of the great cackler. I guard this great egg. If I am strong, it is strong. If I live, it lives. If I breathe the air, it breathes the air. By identifying yourself with the cosmic egg, the source of all potential life, you claim the right to the breath that sustains it. The spell is a simple, desperate plea, but it is potent. As you finish the incantation, the crushing pressure lessens. A space opens up around you. You take a deep, satisfying breath of cool, fresh, spirit air. It fills you with life and clarity. The narrow passage widens, showing you the way forward. You have learned another crucial lesson. In the duat, nothing can be taken for granted. Not your identity, not your body, not even the air you breathe. Every single aspect of existence must be fought for, claimed, and defended with the power of your words. You are now truly ready for the final trial that awaits. You have survived fire and darkness, chaos and claustrophobia. But as you draw nearer to the Hall of Judgment, a deeper, more fundamental dread begins to settle in your soul. It is the fear behind all other fears. It is the fear of the second death. This is not the simple cessation of breath you experienced in your bed. This is not the end of a life. This is the end of existence itself. The second death is annihilation. It is to have your Ba and Ka utterly consumed your name. Ren erased from all memory, your shadow. Shut dissolved into nothing. It is to become less than dust, to be a mistake that is corrected by the universe, to be as if you had never been born at all. This is the ultimate failure, the final destination for the unworthy. The weight of this possibility is crushing. Every challenge you have overcome was simply a prelude, a way to avoid this final absolute oblivion. As you walk the final path towards the Hall of Mayat, the air itself seems to whisper of this fate, showing you visions of souls who failed, disappearing like smoke in the wind. To fortify yourself against this ultimate horror, you must make a powerful declaration. You must deny the power of oblivion over you. You recite the spell for not dying a second time, a plea to the great God, Thoth, the arbiter of your fate. O Thoth, what is it that has come to pass? You ask the void, your voice filled with a desperate formality. O Thoth, I am one of those who are equipped, who come forth from the house of the prince. I have come from a distant land to the place where I am. You are asserting your history, your right to be here. You are not a random soul. You are an initiated spirit who has completed the journey. O Thoth, do not let me be delivered to the slaughter of the underworld, you plead. Do not shut me in. Do not let me enter into that chamber of which those who enter it do not come forth. For my name is abhorrence of that God who is in his labyrinth. You give yourself a new magical name, a name that defines you as one who is repulsed by the God of annihilation. You are actively defining yourself in opposition to the second death. You are telling the universe that you reject this fate. The spell doesn't guarantee your success in the judgment to come, but it strengthens your soul, reminding you of the stakes and solidifying your will to exist. Just when you think the horrors of the duat might become more abstract and psychological, it throws another grotesque monster in your path. This one is not a grand cosmic serpent, but something more bizarre, more personally nightmarish. It blocks your way, a creature that seems to have been pieced together from rotting parts. It has the head of a crocodile, the hindquarters of a hippopotamus, and it is hunched over the mangled, half-eaten carcass of a donkey. It is the eater of the donkey, a scavenger demon that embodies a specific kind of violent, senseless consumption. The donkey in some contexts was a symbol of the god Seth, the god of chaos. To see this creature devouring it is a confusing and disturbing omen. The monster looks up from its bloody meal, its dead eyes fixing on you. It is a gatekeeper of a different sort, a test of your ability to face the truly strange and disgusting aspects of the underworld. You must repel it not with a sword, but with a statement of divine authority, showing that you are aligned with the forces of order, not the chaotic creature before you. Get back. You command your voice sharp. I am the god, Seth, in a storm of the sky. By claiming the aspect of the very god whose symbol is being devoured, you turn the creature's own nature against it. You are the storm, the power, the very thing it cannot consume. I am the one whose head is on the vertebra of his neck. I am the buckle of the god. Your portion is not with me. I am not for you. The eater of the donkey snarls confused by your magical declaration. It cannot comprehend a soul that does not show fear, a spirit that claims power over it. It turns back to its gruesome meal, its purpose frustrated, and allows you to pass. You walk by, averting your eyes from the carnage. The encounter serves as a stark reminder that the duat is not just a place of majestic trials, but also a place of random, surreal horror. You are now very close to the Hall of Judgment. You can feel the immense ancient power emanating from it, and you become aware of something inside of you, a frantic fluttering. It is your heart, your Ibe. In the Egyptian worldview, your heart was not the seat of emotion, but of intelligence, conscience, and memory. It was a complete record of every deed you ever performed, good and bad. And in the hall of Ma'at, it would be weighed on the scales against a single feather. But worse, your heart could speak. It could act as a witness against you. It could, in a moment of panic or guilt, confess to sins you had hoped were forgotten, making itself heavy on the scales, and condemning you to oblivion. Your own heart could be your worst enemy. You must command it. You must bind it to your will, and forbid it from betraying you. This is a critical moment of internal magical discipline. You place your spiritual hand over your chest and recite the spell to prevent your heart from bearing witness against you. O my heart, which I had from my mother, you begin your tone both intimate and commanding. O my heart, which I had upon earth, do not stand up against me as a witness. Do not be opposed to me in the tribunal. Do not be hostile to me in the presence of the keeper of the balance. You are speaking to a part of yourself, pleading with it, but also ordering it. You are my Ka, which is in my body. You continue reminding it of your shared existence, the protector who makes my members hail. Go forth to the happy place where we are going. Do not make my name stink to the entourage who make men. Do not tell lies about me in the presence of the god. You feel the frantic fluttering begin to calm. You have asserted your will over your own conscience. It is a morally gray act, a necessary piece of self-preservation in a system where absolute, perfect purity is impossible for any mortal. Your heart is now silent, bound by your magic, to be light on the scales. Whether that is a truth or a magically enforced lie, you have decided it is what you need to survive. As you stand before the very gates of the Hall of Judgment, a new fear takes hold, the fear of being trapped. What if this is the end of the journey in more ways than one? What if, even if you pass the judgment, you are confined to the field of reeds forever? What if you can never leave, never see the world of the living again, never travel the sky with Ra? Eternity. As a prisoner, even in paradise, is still a prison. The ancient Egyptians craved freedom of movement for their souls. The Ba, the human-headed bird, was meant to fly. It was meant to be able to leave the tomb during the day, to visit familiar places, and to return to the body at night. It was meant to be able to ascend to the heavens. To ensure this freedom, you must declare it now before you enter the final stage. You must magically open all doors, both physical and metaphysical, for yourself. Let the doors of the sky be opened for me. You proclaim, your voice filled with longing for the open air. Let the doors of the earth be open for me. Let the bolts of Geb be open for me. Let the enclosure of the sky be open for me. You are demanding access to every realm. You are refusing to be contained. May I go forth from any place I wish to go forth from. May I have power over my legs. May I have power over my heart. May I have power over my arms. May I have power over all my members. May I have power over the offerings made to me. May I have power over the waters, over the air, over the fields, over the gods, and over the dead. It is an audacious, all-encompassing declaration of freedom. You are laying claim to your right to move between worlds, to be an untethered and powerful spirit. You are ensuring that your eternal life will be one of liberty, not confinement. With this spell spoken, you feel lighter, unburdened by the fear of being trapped. You are now ready to face judgment, knowing that whatever lies beyond it, you will be free. While your soul faces metaphysical dangers in the duat, you are suddenly reminded of the very real physical threats to your body back in its tomb. A snake slithering into the burial chamber, a scorpion crawling across the sarcophagus, a beetle boring into the wood. Any damage to your preserved body, your cot, could have dire consequences for you here. The connection is real. These humble creatures, in their own way, are as dangerous as the soul-eating demons of the underworld. The magic of your eternal life depends on the physical integrity of a body you left behind. You must extend your magical protection across the worlds, placing a ward on your own tomb from afar. You recite the spells of protection against these lowly but dangerous creatures. O snake, get back, you command, picturing your tomb and infusing it with power. For I am the flame which shines on the chaos gods. The magical protection of the gods is my magical protection. You speak spells against every kind of vermin you can imagine, creating a barrier of words around your earthly remains. Away with you, you who have a face in the wrong place, for I am the encircled one. I will not be seen, I will not be taken. I am the one who will not be harmed. Each word strengthens the ward. You envision a shimmering shield settling over your sarcophagus, impenetrable to the creatures of the desert. It is a practical, almost mundane piece of magic, but it is utterly essential. Your grand cosmic journey depends on a simple snake not finding a crack in the stone. Having secured your tomb one last time, you can now turn your full attention back to the immense task before you. The path to the Hall of Mayat is guarded by beings of immense knowledge. To pass them, you must prove that you are not just a frightened soul reciting spells from a scroll, but an initiated being who understands the deep cosmology of the universe. You are faced with a test of gnosis, of secret knowledge. A guardian with the head of an ibis like the god Thoth blocks your path. It asks you a question, not with its voice, but directly into your mind. Who are the souls of the West? Who are the souls of the East? To fail this question is to reveal yourself as an outsider, unworthy of entering the sacred hall. You must answer correctly. You delve into the deepest teachings of your faith. The souls of the West. You answer with confidence, are the souls of the dead. They are the ones who follow the setting sun into the land of Osiris. They are the spirits of yesterday. The ibis-headed guardian nods slowly. You have answered the first part. And the souls of the East, you continue, are the gods. They are Ra, and the gods who are born with him at every dawn. They are the spirits of tomorrow. I have come from the west to the east. I have followed the sun on its journey, and I seek to be reborn with him. By answering correctly, you have demonstrated that you understand your place in the cosmic cycle. You are a being in transition, moving from the state of death in the west towards the state of divine renewal in the east. You have shown that you comprehend the eternal struggle and rebirth that defines the universe. The guardian steps aside, granting you passage. You have passed from the realm of pure survival into the realm of divine understanding. As you pass this final intellectual test, a wave of profound human emotion washes over you. For all the gods and monsters, for all the magic and terror, there is a simple aching desire in your heart, the hope of seeing your family again. You think of your parents, your spouse, your children who may have passed into the duat before you. Are they in the field of reeds? Are they waiting for you? The thought of being reunited with them is a powerful motivator, a warmth that pushes back against the cold dread of the judgment ahead. The Book of the Dead in its wisdom provides a spell for this most human of desires. It is a way to ensure that you can find and recognize your loved ones in the vast expanse of the afterlife. You speak the spell softly, like a prayer. It is not a command, but a heartfelt plea. May I see my house and my family, you whisper. May I be a glorious spirit, and may my Ba not be kept away from whatever place it desires to be. May I see my father and my mother. May I recognize my kindred and my folk. This spell is an affirmation of connection, a refusal to let death sever the bonds of love. You are asking the gods not just for eternal life, but for an eternity that has meaning, an eternity shared with those who made your mortal life precious. A sense of peace settles over you. The fear of judgment is still there, but it is now tempered by a powerful hope. You are not just fighting for your own existence anymore. You are fighting for a family reunion that will last forever. This personal emotional motivation gives you the final strength you need to face the great scales. You have arrived in the final river. Across its still dark water lies the island where the Hall of Mayat stands. There is a single skiff on the bank attended by a silent, grim-faced ferryman. His name is Mahaf, meaning he who looks behind, and he will not take you across unless you prove you are worthy by demonstrating extraordinary knowledge. He does not ask for a coin. He asks for the secret names of the boat, every single part of it. Tell me the name of the mast, he commands, his voice like grinding stones. You access your memory, the lore, from the Book of the Dead. The Bearer of the Great One is its name, you reply. Tell me the name of the sail. Nut the Sky Goddess is its name. The test continues, becoming more and more obscure. He asks for the name of the ropes, the oars, the hull, the rudder, even the individual wooden planks. It is a grueling, tedious examination designed to trip you up, to find a gap in your knowledge. Tell me the name of the steering oar. The one who is in the papyrus, Clump, is its name. You answer, your mind straining. Tell me the name of the river, he demands. The one which cannot be seen is its name. Finally, after naming a dozen or more esoteric parts, Mahaf falls silent. He is satisfied. You have proven you have the meticulous knowledge required of a true initiate. He gestures for you to board the skiff. As you push off from the bank, you realize this was the final barrier. The journey is over. The trial is about to begin. You glide silently across the dark water toward the light of the great hall. As the boat glides across the water, you have a moment of quiet reflection. You think about all the names you have been forced to learn, the names of gods, of demons, of gates, of boat parts, and you realize the profound importance of your own name, your Ren. Your name is not just a label. In Egyptian belief, it is a vital component of your being, as real and as necessary as your body or your soul. It was given to you at birth, and it holds your identity and your power. To have your name spoken by the living is to keep your memory, and therefore your existence, alive. To have it remembered by the gods is to be eternal. This is why your name was written all over your tomb, on your sarcophagus, and in your book of the dead. It was a way of reinforcing your existence. This is also why to have your name erased from a monument was the worst possible curse, a way of performing a retroactive execution of wiping you from history. You speak your own name softly to yourself. Your name. You feel its power, the way it encapsulates everything you were and everything you are. It is the thread that has held you together through this entire ordeal. Forgetting a gatekeeper's name would have trapped you, but forgetting your own name would have been oblivion. It is your most precious possession, your final and truest identity. You hold on to it tightly as the boat finally bumps against the shore of the island of judgment. You step out of the boat and onto the shores of the island. Before you stands the destination of your entire journey, the culmination of all your fears and all your preparations, the Hall of the Two Truths, the Great Hall of Ma'at. It is an immense open-air structure, its pillars stretching up into a sky that is neither day nor night. It is silent, but it is a heavy, expectant silence. This is the courtroom of the gods, the place where eternity is decided. The air hums with a power so immense, it makes every spell you've recited feel like a child's whisper. At the far end of the hall, you can just make out the shape of a great throne. On it sits Osiris, Lord of the Dead, his form wrapped like a mummy, holding the crook and flail. Flanking him are the two goddesses Isis and Nephthys, and arranged along the walls are 42 other divine figures, each with the head of a different animal or a human, their faces grim and impassive. These are the 42 judges, each of whom you will have to address. And in the very center of the hall stands the object that dominates everything, a huge ornate set of golden scales, the Great Balance. This is it. There are no more monsters to fight, no more rivers to cross, no more spells to recite for protection. All that is left is to walk into that hall, face the gods, and have your entire life weighed in the balance. You take a deep spiritual breath and begin to walk toward the entrance. You walk forward, each step echoing in the profound silence of the hall. The 42 judges watch you, their animal and human faces betraying no emotion. They are not here to debate or to listen to your excuses. They are here to witness a simple binary outcome, worthy or unworthy, purity or annihilation. The air is thin and cold, and it hums with an ancient divine power that makes your very essence tremble. This is the source of all law, the center of cosmic balance. In your mortal life, you may have stood before a local magistrate for a dispute over land or property. This is infinitely greater. You are a single transparent soul, standing before the forces that govern eternity, and there are no secrets here. You reach the center of the hall and are brought before the 42 judges who are seated in a long, imposing row. You must address them. This is not a plea for mercy. It is a declaration of innocence, a formal and ritualistic denial of sin known as the negative confession. Your voice must be clear and unwavering. Any hesitation will be perceived as guilt. Your gaze sweeps across the terrifying assembly of judges. You must now deny 42 specific sins, one for each judge. You take a breath and begin your declaration, your voice echoing in the vast, silent space. I have not committed sin. I have not committed robbery with violence. I have not stolen. I have not slain men and women. I have not stolen grain. I have not purloined offerings. I have not stolen the property of the gods. I have not uttered lies. I have not carried away food. I have not uttered curses. I have not committed adultery. I have not made anyone weep. The list is long and exhaustive. It covers not just major crimes, but social and religious transgressions. Each denial is a magical act, a purification of a specific aspect of your past life. You must be flawless in your recitation. You continue down the list, your focus absolute. The eyes of the judges are upon you, searching for any hint of falsehood. I have not eaten the heart, a metaphorical sin meaning to have acted without thought or with undue anger. I have not attacked any man. I have not been a man of deceit. I have not stolen cultivated land. I have not been an eavesdropper. I have not been quarrelsome. I have not judged hastily. I have not been arrogant. I have not multiplied my words in speaking. I have not blasphemed a god. I have not committed treason against the king. I have not fouled the water. Finally, you reach the end of the long declaration. You have verbally constructed a life of perfect purity. You have stated your case. But words are not enough in this hall. Now comes the ultimate proof. The jackal-headed god Anubis. He who guides the dead steps forward from the shadows. He takes you gently by the hand, his touch both cold and comforting, and leads you toward the great balance in the center of the hall. The silence deepens. This is the moment known as the psychostasia, the weighing of the soul. Anubis takes your heart, your IB, which now manifests as a small, tangible object, and places it on one of the golden pans of the scale. Your entire life, every thought, every secret, every small act of kindness, and every fleeting moment of cruelty rests there. Then he reaches for an object held by the goddess Ma'at herself. It is a single white ostrich feather, perfectly symmetrical and impossibly light. It is the feather of truth and cosmic order. He places the feather on the other pan of the scale. Your heart against the feather of truth. The beam of the great scale lifts, oscillating slightly as it begins to measure the weight of your soul. Standing beside the scales is another god, Thoth. He has the head of an ibis, and his eyes are sharp and intelligent. He is the scribe of the gods, the master of wisdom, language, and record-keeping. In his hands, he holds his palette and a reed pen ready to inscribe the verdict. His presence changes the nature of the event. This is not just a judgment. It is the creation of a permanent, unchangeable record. What Thoth writes will become eternal fact. There are no appeals, no retrials. His meticulous script will seal your fate forever. He watches the needle on the scales, his expression patient and neutral, waiting to perform his divine function. His silence is more intimidating than any roar. And then you see her, crouched at the base of the scales, waiting with a terrifying hunger in her eyes. It is Amit, the devourer of the dead. She is the physical manifestation of the second death, the executioner for the damned. She is a monstrous chimera, a creature made of the three largest man-eating animals the Egyptians knew. She has the head and jaws of a crocodile ready to snap and crush. Her front half is the body of a lion full of predatory power, and her hindquarters are those of a hippopotamus, a creature known for its unexpected and immense strength. She is not a judge. She is a consequence. She waits drooling slightly, her gaze fixed on the pan holding your heart. She is hope's opposite. She is the embodiment of utter and complete annihilation, and she is waiting for you to fail. Time seems to stop. The only sound is the faint metallic creak of the great balance. The beam sways up and down, seeking its level. It moves less and less, the oscillations becoming smaller, more refined. Will it tip on the side of your heart, heavy with the small sins and regrets of a mortal life? Or will it find equilibrium with the single weightless feather of truth? The needle on the scale slows, it quivers, and then it stops. Perfectly centered. Your heart is as light as the feather. A collective silent sigh seems to pass through the hall. Thoth dips his pen. He looks to the scales, then to Osiris, and he makes his announcement, his voice clear and precise. The heart of the deceased has been weighed, and it is found true. There is no wickedness in him. He has not sinned. He is Ma'keru. For a moment you let yourself imagine what would have happened if the scales had tipped. You see the needle swing wildly to one side, your heart heavy with lies and sin crashing down. You see the look of disappointment on the face of Osiris, the cold finality in the eyes of Thoth. And you see Ammit. You imagine her rising to her feet, a low growl rumbling in her chest. Before you can even scream, she lunges forward with incredible speed. Her crocodile jaws snap shut around the pan holding your heart. There is a sickening crunch, and it is gone. The moment your heart is destroyed, you feel an agony beyond all imagining. It is not pain, but erasure. Your consciousness unravels. Your memories burn away like old parchment. Your form flickers, becoming transparent. You cry out, but your voice is gone. Your name is forgotten. Your very existence is undone, consumed, and excreted by the devourer, leaving not even a ghost behind. You shudder, pulling yourself back to reality. That was the fate you escaped, the fate of countless others. You are one of the lucky ones. Ma'keru, true of voice. The words wash over you, the most beautiful sound you have ever heard. It is a verdict, a title, and a passport, all in one. It means your denials were accepted. It means your heart was pure. It means you have passed the ultimate test. Osiris from his great throne gives a slow, solemn nod of approval. The 42 judges seem to relax, their purpose fulfilled. Anubis gives your hand a final, gentle squeeze before letting go. Ammit the devourer lets out a disappointed sigh and settles back down, cheated of her meal. She will wait for the next soul. An indescribable wave of relief, so powerful it almost brings you to your knees, floods your being. The tension of your entire life, and your even more tense afterlife, is finally released. You have done it. You have navigated the duat, faced down the gods, and have been found worthy. You have earned your eternity. Horus, the falcon-headed son of Osiris, steps forward and takes you by the hand. He leads you away from the great balance and the hall of judgment. You walk down a path that glows with a warm golden light. The cold, sterile atmosphere of the courtroom gives way to a gentle breeze and the smell of fresh water and blooming flowers. You pass through a final shimmering gateway, and the sight that greets you is more beautiful than anything you could have ever imagined. You have arrived in Ayaru, the field of reeds. It is a perfect, idealized version of the Egypt you knew. The Nile flows here, but its waters are clear and calm. The crops are always tall, the trees are always heavy with fruit, and the sun is always shining with a pleasant, gentle warmth. There is no sickness here, no sadness, no hunger, no death. You see other figures in the distance, tending to the fields, laughing and resting by the water. They are the other blessed dead, the Makeru, who passed the test before you. You are now one of them. Your eternal life has begun. You stand in the warm, golden light of Aru, the field of reeds, and for the first time in what feels like an eternity, you are safe. There are no demons here, no terrifying guardians, no lakes of fire. The air is clean. The sounds are of gentle winds and distant happy laughter. But as you look closer, you realize that Aru is not a place of eternal rest. It is not a vacation. It is a perfect mirror of the life you left behind, with one crucial difference. Its purpose is not to sustain you, but to sustain the gods. This paradise runs on labor, and you are now a part of its workforce. The blessed dead are not here to be idle. They are here to serve, to work the celestial field so that the gods may feast and the cosmic order may be maintained. Your reward for passing judgment is to be granted a life of eternal sacred servitude. You are assigned a plot of land in the endless fields. The soil is dark and fertile, and the reeds by the riverbank grow taller than any you saw on earth. Your task is the same task that defined the lives of millions in the Nile Valley. You must plow, you must sow, and you must reap. An overseer, a minor deity, hands you a wooden plow and a bag of seed. The grain here is magical, growing to maturity in a fraction of the time it took on earth. But the work is still work. You feel the strain in your spiritual muscles as you guide the plow through the soil. You feel the sun on your back as you walk the long rows sowing the seeds. And you will feel the ache in your back as you harvest the towering stalks of wheat and barley. The harvest is bountiful and endless. As soon as one field is reaped, another is ready for planting. The cycle does not stop. This is your function for the rest of time. As you stand before your assigned plot holding the plow, a memory surfaces. A memory of your foresight, your wealth, and your preparations. You reach into a fold of your spiritual garment and find you are not empty-handed. You hold a small mummy-form figure, a Shabti doll, one of hundreds you had placed in your tomb. Now is the time to use them. This is the great loophole, the privilege of the wealthy in the afterlife. You hold the Shabti and recite the spell to awaken it, spell 6 of the Book of the Dead. O Shabti allotted to me, you command your voice firm. If I be summoned, or if I be decreed to do any work which is to be done in the realm of the dead, you shall decree yourself for me on every occasion of making the fields arable, of flooding the banks, or of conveying sand from east to west. You conclude with the essential words, "Here I am," you shall say. A strange energy flows from you into the small statue. Its painted eyes flicker with life. It grows to full size, a perfect replica of you. It takes the plow from your hands, nods once, and says in a clear voice, "Here I am." It then turns and begins to work your field without complaint. Another Shabti appears to handle the sowing, and another to carry water. You have 365 of them, one for every day of the year. Your eternity of labor will be performed by your magical servants. With your Shabtis performing your duties, You are now free to enjoy the leisures of Aru. And as you walk through the fields, you notice the social structure. It is an exact reflection of the one you left behind. You see other souls like you relaxing by the river, playing games of Senate, and enjoying the fruits of paradise. These are the souls who, like you, were wealthy and powerful enough in life to afford a full complement of Shabtis and a comprehensive Book of the Dead. But you also see other souls toiling in the sun. They plow, and they reap their brows furrowed with effort, just as they did on earth. These are the souls who could only afford a simple burial, a handful of shabtis, or perhaps none at all. Their eternity is one of hard labor, no different from their mortal life, only without the release of death. Paradise is not the same for everyone. Your eternal comfort was bought and paid for long before you died. Free from the burden of work, you are now able to partake in the eternal pleasures of this place. The food and drink are limitless. The bread is always fresh. The beer is always cool. The dates and figs are always perfectly ripe. You can sit with friends at a great feasting table, sharing stories and enjoying a bounty that never diminishes. You find your family. You see your mother, your father, your spouse, all of them found true a voice as you were. The reunion is a moment of pure, unburdened joy. The grief of separation is gone, replaced by the calm reality of a shared eternity. You sit together and play Senate the board game, representing the journey through the underworld. But now you play it with no stakes, simply for the joy of the game. It is a peaceful, pleasant, and predictable existence. Your existence is not confined to the field of reeds. You have earned the right to freedom. On some days you feel a pull to the world beyond paradise. You transform into your Ba form the bird with a human head, and you fly. You can soar up into the heavens, joining the solar bark of Ra, not as a desperate defender, but as an honored guest, traveling across the sky and witnessing the glory of creation. Or you can fly down back to the world of the living. You pass through the veil invisible to mortal eyes. You find your tomb, and you see your descendants leaving offerings of bread and beer at the entrance. You see them speak your name, keeping your memory alive. You can briefly reunite with your own body, your Khat, before returning to the light of Aru. You are a being of two worlds now, forever connected to the life you left behind. Even this paradise is not entirely without peril. The universe is still a place of order and chaos, and sometimes echoes of the Duat can find their way here. A minor demon might slip past the divine guardians, or a malevolent spirit might try to cause trouble. There are still spells in your knowledge for protection, for warding off these lesser threats. Your time in Aru is not one of defenseless bliss, but of peaceful vigilance. You must always be mindful, always ready to use the magic you have learned to maintain the sanctity of your eternal home. The Great War is over, but there will always be small skirmishes on the borders of peace. As the days and years and centuries begin to blend into one another, a new and subtle challenge emerges. Aru is perfect. The weather is always pleasant. The harvest is always successful. There is no conflict, no struggle, no unexpected change. At first, this predictability is a comfort, but over time, it becomes a quiet, creeping horror. It is the tyranny of sameness. Every day is a perfect copy of the last. The conversations you have with your family you have had 1,000 times before. The taste of the food never changes. The sun never fails to rise in exactly the same way. There is no growth here because there is nothing to overcome. There is no novelty because everything has already been discovered. You have escaped the brutal chaos of the duat, only to find yourself in a cage of perfect, unending monotony. You begin to wonder what the true meaning of eternal life is, if it is simply the same day repeated forever. Your status in this eternal paradise is not entirely self-sufficient. It remains subtly linked to the world of the living. You rely on your descendants to perform the proper rituals, to leave offerings at your tomb, and most importantly, to speak your name. When your name is spoken on earth, it sends a ripple of energy to you here in Aru, strengthening you, reaffirming your existence. When offerings are made, their spiritual essence nourishes you. But what if your family line dies out? What if your tomb is robbed and your name erased? What if after a few hundred years you are simply forgotten? You see it happen to other spirits. Their light seems to dim, their presence becomes less substantial. While they may not be cast out of Aru, their existence becomes weaker, more solitary. Your eternal life is a shared project between the dead and the living, and you are forever dependent on the fragile memory of mortals. And so this is your eternity, a life of comfort, leisure, and light servitude, forever punctuated by the quiet anxieties of monotony and the fear of being forgotten. The terrifying, perilous journey through the duat is over. You have survived. You have been judged worthy. You have claimed your place among the blessed dead. You look out across the perfect, unchanging fields, and you understand. This is not an end. This is a cycle. You will watch the celestial Nile flow. You will see the divine harvest gathered. You will greet your family, and you will do it all again tomorrow, and the day after, and the day after that, forever. Your brutal journey is over. Your quiet, endless eternity has just begun. As you move through the oppressive silence that follows your last encounter, a new and strange sensation begins to dawn within you. It is a feeling of fragility, a deep-seated fear that your heart, the very vessel of your consciousness and morality, is too soft, too mortal to withstand the immense pressures of this realm. It is made of flesh and blood and memory things that decay and fade. You have commanded it not to speak against you, but what if it simply fails? What if the divine weight of the judgment to come is enough to crush it entirely? The terror of your own organic nature, your own human fallibility, becomes a palpable threat. You realize that to survive what is to come, your heart needs more than just a magical command. It needs to be transformed, remade into something eternal, something divine. You require a heart of stone, but not just any stone. You require a heart of the heavens themselves. Your Book of the Dead, ever responsive to your needs, brings forth the knowledge you seek. It is spell 29b, a powerful and esoteric incantation to replace your metaphorical heart of flesh with one made of lapis lazuli. The choice of material is profound. Lapis lazuli, with its deep blue color, flecked with golden pyrite, was not merely a precious stone to your people. It was a piece of the night sky made solid. It was the material from which the hair and bones of the gods were said to be formed. It represented the firmament, the eternal, the unchanging nature of the cosmos. To possess a heart of lapis was to claim a piece of that divinity for yourself, to make your conscience as permanent and as brilliant as the stars. It was a mineral that had to be brought from distant lands across vast and dangerous deserts, making it a symbol of a difficult but rewarding journey, much like the one you are on now. You begin the incantation, your voice a low hum in the darkness of the duat. You are not just reciting words. You are performing a kind of spiritual alchemy upon yourself. O my heart of lapis lazuli, you begin, be thou not far from me. I am the one who possesses you, and I am the one who guides you. You feel a strange cold sensation in your spiritual chest, a process of magical petrification beginning. You are actively willing your core being to change its very nature. The spell continues a long and poetic description of the stone's properties. You speak of its weight, its coolness, its connection to the great goddess Isis, and the wisdom of Thoth. You are weaving a web of associations, convincing the universe that this transformation is not only possible, but cosmically correct. You describe the journey of the stone from the mountains at the edge of the world to the workshops of the artisans, mirroring your own soul's journey from the world of the living to this place of trial and transformation. As you chant, you feel the frantic, fearful pulse of your old heart begin to slow, replaced by a steady, rhythmic, and powerful hum. It is the vibration of stone, the slow and patient frequency of eternity. The fear of being crushed, of failing, begins to recede. How can a piece of the sky fail? How can the universe judge itself? The transformation is both painful and blissful. It is the shedding of your final vulnerable piece of mortality. You are letting go of your human heart with all its messy emotions and fears, and in its place a perfect polished sphere of deep blue stone glittering with golden specks now resides. It is cool. It is heavy. It is permanent. It will not betray you. It will not speak against you. It cannot be crushed. It will lie on the scales, not as a record of a flawed life, but as a testament to your divine potential, a perfect, silent, and beautiful weight that is in harmony with the cosmos itself. You are no longer just a soul hoping for a favorable judgment. You are now a being carrying a piece of heaven within you, ready to meet the gods on their own terms. You have recited your negative confession, that long litany of sins not committed. But that was a general declaration, a statement made to the entire hall. Now comes a more personal, more terrifying ordeal. The journey to the Great Balance is not a direct path. To reach it, you must walk a gauntlet, passing before each of the 42 divine judges who line the Hall of Maat, and you must address each one by their name and their place of origin, and deny their specific sin directly to their face. This is not a recitation. It is a series of 42 direct confrontations. Each judge is a specialist, a divine entity whose entire existence is focused on a single aspect of cosmic law. To look into their eyes is to have that part of your soul laid bare. You approach the first judge. He has the head of a hawk, but his eyes burn with a cold fire. Hail Usek Nemt, who comes forth from Anu. You say, your voice steady, I have not committed sin. The judge's gaze seems to pierce through you, searching your entire life for a single instance of falsehood. You hold his gaze fortified by your pure heart until he gives a slow, almost imperceptible nod. You move to the next. This one is more monstrous. Hail Hepket, who comes forth from Keraha. You begin addressing a being with the head of the crocodile, its jaws slightly agape. I have not committed robbery with violence. You feel a flash of every moment in your life where you took something, even a piece of fruit, from a neighbor's tree as a child. You must push these memories aside, for the sin is not the act, but the intent, the violence. You assert your core innocence, and the crocodile-headed judge remains still. You continue down the line. You face Fenty, who comes from Kemenu, a serpent-headed god, and deny the sin of being quarrelsome. You face he who eats entrails, who comes from the house of 30, and deny the sin of injustice. Each confrontation is a new wave of psychological pressure. Some judges are serene and majestic. Others are composites of predatory animals dripping with ethereal gore. One, he whose face is behind him, is a disorienting horror, a creature that embodies deceit, and you must look at the back of its head while denying you have ever been an eavesdropper. Another, she who eats blood, you must face while denying you have ever slain a sacred animal. The air around each judge is different. Around the judge of lies, the air feels thin and deceptive. Around the judge of anger, you feel a radiating heat. This is a sensory as well as a spiritual ordeal. You are walking through a landscape of pure sin and judgment, and you are the only moving part. You cannot rush. You cannot look away. You must give each god their due. You must know their name, where they come from, and the specific transgression they watch over. It is the most intense examination you could possibly imagine, a final exam on a lifetime of moral conduct. With each judge you pass, you feel a small piece of your mortal anxiety fall away, replaced by the confidence of the truly vindicated. You are not just claiming to be innocent. You are proving it one terrifying step at a time to the very gods who wrote the laws of the universe. This gauntlet is designed to break any soul who harbors even a sliver of deceit. But for you, it is a walk of purification, bringing you ever closer to the scales, not as a defendant, but as a peer. Having passed the divine judges, you feel a sense of profound accomplishment. But the duat is a place of endless inventive cruelty, and it preys not just on your sins, but on your very substance. As you walk through a shadowy corridor leading towards the scales, you notice something is wrong. You look down at the ethereal floor and see that you cast no shadow. A cold dread different from any you have felt before seizes you. Your shadow, your shewat, is gone. To your people, the shadow was not a mere trick of the light. It was a vital living part of a person's identity, an external manifestation of the soul, a dark twin that contained your mysteries, your power, and your connection to the physical world. To lose your shadow was to become incomplete, unanchored, a being of diminished reality. A shadowless soul could not hope to be reborn, for they had nothing to cast upon the living world. It was another form of annihilation, a slow fading into transparency. You scan the darkness around you, and you see it. A creature made of living shadow, a being darker than the surrounding gloom. It has no distinct shape, just a writhing mass of blackness, and it is consuming your shadow, drinking it in like water. This is a Shutem-Heb, an eater of shades, one of the parasitic horrors that feeds on the very identity of souls who are distracted by the grand trials. While you were focused on the judges, this creature crept in and performed its silent theft. The panic you feel is immense. The Book of the Dead has spells for repelling monsters of flesh and fire, but how do you fight a creature made of absence? How do you reclaim a piece of yourself that has been consumed by nothingness? You must not fight it with force, but with magic that reasserts the fundamental nature of reality itself. You must remind the universe that you are a whole being, and that a shadow is inextricably linked to a body, even a spiritual one. You begin the incantation, a spell for the preservation and return of a man's shadow. O my shadow, the shadow which was mine, you call out your voice, resonating with a strange power that affects the light and darkness around you. Let me have power over my shadow. Let me look upon my soul. Do not imprison my shadow. Do not imprison my soul. You are speaking a law of nature, a metaphysical principle that a shadow cannot be stolen from its source. The eater of shades stops its consumption. It turns its featureless void towards you, sensing a power it cannot digest. I am a blessed spirit, you declare, growing bolder. I have my shadow, and it has its being. I have my soul, and it has its being. In the presence of the gods of the underworld, my shadow shall not be destroyed. As you speak, you feel a connection being reestablished. From the dark mass of the Eater of Shades, a thin wisp of blackness detaches itself and flows back towards your feet. It is your shadow returning to you. The creature lets out a silent scream of frustration and dissolves back into the greater darkness of the duat, seeking easier prey. You look down, and you are whole again. Your shadow stretches out before you, a familiar and comforting presence. You have learned a vital lesson in the duat. You must not only guard your heart and your name, but also your very silhouette, for every piece of you is precious, and every piece is under threat. As you wait for the final summons to the scales, you take a moment to look closely at the papyrus scroll you still clutch in your spiritual hand. For the entire journey, you have focused on its words, the spells and incantations that have been your shield and your guide. But now you notice the images. The scroll is not just text, it is filled with dozens of intricate, colorful illustrations known as vignettes. And you realize that these are not mere decorations. In the magical worldview of your people, an image holds as much power as a word. To depict something is to give it reality. Your scroll is not just a book of spells. It is a graphic novel of your own success. You unroll a section and look at one of the vignettes. It shows you depicted as a noble figure standing confidently before the 42 judges. Your image is serene. Your posture is perfect. By having this image on your scroll, you were not just hoping for this outcome. You were helping to create it. The image itself is a form of magic, a statement of intent that helps to shape reality in your favor. It is a visual prayer, a continuous affirmation of your worthiness that has been running in the background of your entire journey. You scroll further and see the famous vignette of the weighing of the heart. There you are, standing beside the scales. Anubis is performing the weighing, Thoth is recording the result, and Osiris is looking on with approval. But the most important detail is the scale itself. In your vignette, the beam is perfectly balanced. Your heart is shown to be as light as the feather of Ma'at. You have been carrying the successful verdict with you all along. This illustration is not a prediction. It is a tool. It is a magical machine designed to produce a specific result. By commissioning this vignette, by paying the scribe to paint this specific scene, you were investing in a magical technology designed to ensure your salvation. You see other images. There is a vignette of you playing Senet, the board game of passing through the underworld, in a peaceful pavilion. This is not just a depiction of a pleasant pastime. It is a magical act that ensures your ability to skillfully navigate the afterlife. There is another image of you kneeling before a table laden with offerings of bread, beer, and lotus flowers. This ensures you will never go hungry in the field of reeds. Another shows your basol, the human-headed bird, flying out of your tomb into the sunlight, ensuring your freedom of movement between worlds. This realization fills you with a new sense of awe for the sophisticated magic of your people. They understood that reality could be influenced not just by spoken words, but by carefully crafted images. Your Book of the Dead is a multi-layered magical device. The spells are its engine, but the vignettes are its blueprint, its visual operating system. Every detail, from the color of your garment to the posture of the gods, was chosen for a specific magical purpose. You have not just been reading a scroll, you have been activating a powerful visual artifact. As you prepare to step towards the scales, you do so with the added confidence that your success has not only been spoken, but has also been beautifully and powerfully painted into existence. Before you can reach the island of judgment, where the Hall of Mayat resides, you find you must cross one last great expanse. It is not the lake of fire, but a vast black and silent river that snakes its way through the deepest part of the Duat. There is no bridge, and the ferryman Mahaf is nowhere to be seen. The Book of the Dead informs you that this river, known as the Waters of Annihilation, must be navigated by your own power in a boat of your own magical making. This is a test of your ability to command the very elements of this spectral world. You use a spell of creation, and from the shadowy mists, a simple papyrus skiff forms at your feet. It is fragile, and as you step into it and push off from the bank, you feel its unnerving instability. The water is as thick and as black as oil, and it does not ripple. The silence is absolute, broken only by the gentle dip of the paddle you have also conjured. As you move toward the center of the river, the true dangers begin to manifest. The water begins to stir, not with waves, but with ghostly shapes. You see the faces of the damned, those who failed their judgment, swirling just beneath the surface. They are the souls who were devoured by Amit, their remnants trapped here in an eternal watery prison. Their mouths are open in silent screams, their hands reach up towards your skiff, trying to pull you down into the depths to join them. Their touch is a metaphysical poison that can drain your will and your power. You must recite a spell of protection, creating a ward around your boat to keep the grasping spirits at bay. I am the one who sails. You chant your voice, a lonely sound, in the immense silence. I am the one who is pure. The waters do not know my name, but I know the waters. I am protected by the blood of Isis and the magic of Thoth. As you reach the middle of the river, a new threat emerges. A great whirlpool begins to form ahead of you, a swirling vortex of black water that threatens to pull you into the abyss. This is no natural phenomenon. It is a manifestation of the chaos that perpetually tries to unmake the order of the Duat. To navigate it, you cannot simply paddle harder. You must use a spell of command, a spell to calm the waters. You stand at the prow of your flimsy boat and address the whirlpool as if it were a living entity. Be still, you command. I am the one who passes. I am the Lord of Tranquility. The god Geb has smoothed the earth for me, and the god Shu has calmed the waters. Be still. The vortex slows its power, diminishing under the weight of your divine command, allowing you to pass safely by its edge. Finally, as you near the far shore, the river spirits themselves rise from the deep. They are beings of mist and dark water, their forms constantly shifting. They are hostile to all who cross their domain. They whisper your deepest fears, trying to parallel fort you with despair. They show you visions of your tomb being robbed, your family forgetting your name. It is a final, desperate assault on your psychological fortitude. You must close your mind to them, focusing only on the image of the Hall of Mat on the distant shore. You use a final spell of banishment, a powerful incantation that declares your divine rite of passage. The spirits shriek and dissolve back into the river. Exhausted but triumphant, your skiff finally scrapes against the shore of the island. You have crossed the waters of annihilation, proving not just your purity, but your mastery over the treacherous landscape of the underworld itself. You have passed the guardians of the gates, and you have named the parts of the ferryman's boat. You believe you have proven your knowledge. But as you take your first steps on the island of judgment, you are confronted by a trio of imposing figures. They are not monstrous gatekeepers. They are serene, majestic gods, lieutenants of Osiris himself. One has the head of a baboon, another the head of a lioness, and the third the head of a man. They are here to administer one final esoteric test. They will not ask you to deny sins or to name physical objects. They will ask you to prove you know the deepest secrets of all the hidden true names of the gods who govern the Duat. To the Egyptians, a name was not a simple label. It was a source of power. To know the true name of a being was to have a measure of control over it. While many gods were known by their common names, Ra, Osiris, Isis, they all possessed secret, powerful names that were only revealed to the most initiated souls. This test is to see if you are merely a soul who has memorized a scroll or if you are a true glorified spirit who understands the inner workings of the divine. The baboon-headed god, a form of Thoth, speaks first his voice, a series of melodic clicks and deep resonance. You who would stand before the Lord of all, tell us what is the hidden name of the god whose form is a great cat, who splits the Ishad tree on the night of battle. This is a reference to the god Ra in his form as a warrior cat fighting the serpent Apep. To answer correctly, you must know the deep mythology. His name is He who is praised in the morning. You answer correctly. The baboon god nods. The lioness-headed goddess, a form of Sekhmet, speaks next, her voice a low growl that promises immense power. You have crossed the waters and repelled the demons, but do you know the name of the devourer who guards the corner of the lake of fire, the one whose face is a terror, and whose roar is the storm? This is a much more obscure demon god. You must search the deepest recesses of your magical knowledge. He is the one with the bloodshot eye who comes forth from the slaughterhouse, you reply. The lioness goddess seems satisfied, her fearsome expression softening slightly. Finally, the man-headed god, a form of Osiris himself, poses the last and most difficult question. You have passed through the 12 hours of the night. Name for us the Lord of the 5th hour, the one who guides the sun through the land of sand and shadow, whose voice the serpents obey. This requires a knowledge of the specific theology of each hour of the underworld journey. A mistake here would prove your knowledge is incomplete. He is the god, He, who is in his boat, you state with confidence. His power is in his journey, and his magic is in his movement. Having answered all 3 questions correctly, you have proven your worth. You have demonstrated that you are not just a traveler, but a scholar of the divine. You have shown that you understand not just the dangers of the Duat, but the very nature of the gods who rule it. The 3 gods step aside, forming a path for you to proceed towards the Hall of Ma'at. You have passed the final intellectual hurdle. You have shown that you belong in this divine company, ready not just to be judged by the gods, but to take your place among them. The path to the Hall of Ma'at is long, and a strange kind of exhaustion begins to set in a spiritual weariness from the endless trials. As you walk, the bleak landscape of the island begins to change. Up ahead, you see a beautiful, lush garden, an oasis of vibrant life in this land of death. A table is set under a flowering tree, laden with the most delicious-looking food you can imagine, glowing fruit, steaming bread, and goblets filled with a sparkling, ruby-red liquid. Standing by the table is a beautiful, smiling figure who beckons you to come and eat, to rest and restore your strength before the final judgment. Your spirit feels a powerful pull. The desire for rest, for a moment of comfort and pleasure, is overwhelming. The memory of food, of taste, and satisfaction is a powerful echo from your mortal life. The figure at the table seems kind. Its voice is like music, promising you that this food will give you the strength you need. It seems like a blessing, a final gift before the trial. But a deep sense of caution, honed by your long journey, holds you back. Nothing in the duat is what it seems. You realize this is a trap, one of the most insidious yet. The food is cursed. To eat or drink anything offered by the spirits of the underworld other than the sanctified offerings you have claimed through spells is to bind yourself to this realm forever. If you were to taste that fruit, you would never be able to leave. You would become a permanent resident of the duat, a slave to the demon who offered you the meal, never reaching the field of reeds, never being reborn into the light. It is the temptation of short-term relief at the cost of your eternal soul. I will not eat your bread. I will not drink your wine. You declare your voice firm, even as your spirit aches for the comfort being offered. The beautiful figure's smile widens, becoming predatory and cruel. But you are tired. It hisses its form, beginning to waver and distort. Just one bite. It will make you strong. It holds out a glowing pomegranate, its seeds glistening like jewels. You must rely on a spell of discernment, a magical act of seeing things for what they truly are. As you recite the words, the beautiful illusion shatters. The lush garden becomes a corrupted swamp. The flowering tree is a twisted dead thing. The figure is no longer beautiful, but a gaunt, hollow-eyed demon of hunger. And the food on the table is revealed to be nothing but dust, withered leaves, and crawling insects. The ruby-red liquid in the goblets is black, stagnant sludge. I have my own food. You proclaim, invoking the magic of the offerings made at your tomb. I eat the bread of the gods. I drink the beer of Osiris. Your offerings are an abomination to me. The demon of hunger shrieks as your words of power strike it. It and its illusory feast dissolve into foul-smelling smoke, leaving you once again on the bleak path to the hall of Mot. You are weary, but you are pure. You have passed the test of temptation, proving that you have the discipline and wisdom to reject false comfort in favor of true eternal salvation. The real feast awaits you, but only after you have earned it. For hours now you have walked the dark corridors of the duat. You have faced demons, recited spells, and stood before the scales of judgment. But now, let's pull back the curtain. Let's step out of the story for a moment and look at what it all truly meant. Because history is often misunderstood, covered in layers of myth that are more dramatic but less true than reality. We imagine medieval times were all knights and castles, forgetting the dirt and the disease. The truth of the past is always more complex. The first myth to dismantle is the name itself, the Book of the Dead. It sounds ominous, like a single evil volume bound in human skin, a dark Bible of necromancy. But the Egyptians never called it that. To them, these texts were the spells for coming forth by day. It wasn't a book about being dead. It was a guide on how to overcome death and re-enter the world of the living to come forth into the light. And it was never a single book. It was more like a vast collection of spells, a supernatural menu from which a person would choose the spells they wanted for their own afterlife journey, depending on what they could afford. A wealthy pharaoh might have a huge, beautifully illustrated scroll with over 200 spells. A commoner might only have a single worn piece of papyrus with 1 or 2 essential spells to protect them. There was no single authoritative version, only a vast, ever-changing library of magic tailored to the individual. The second myth is that it's all about curses and malevolent magic, a tool to harm others from beyond the grave. While Egyptian magic certainly had its darker side, the Book of the Dead was almost entirely defensive. Think of it less as a sword and more as a shield. Its purpose was to protect the soul from the countless dangers of the underworld, to repel demons, to answer riddles, to prove purity. It was a guide to survival, a magical passport and phrasebook for the most dangerous journey imaginable. The spells were not curses on others, but affirmations of the self, desperate declarations meant to preserve one's own identity against the forces of annihilation. And perhaps the biggest myth is that the Egyptian afterlife was a guaranteed paradise for all. We see the golden masks and the majestic tombs and assume everyone sailed off to the field of reeds. The truth, as you've journeyed through it, was far more brutal. The afterlife was not a right. It was a privilege that had to be earned, fought for, and paid for. Every step was a trial. One forgotten name, one misspoken word, one moment of impurity could lead to eternal oblivion at the jaws of Ammit. Many, perhaps most souls who embarked on this journey likely failed. Paradise was an exclusive destination with a terrifyingly high barrier to entry. So what does this all tell us? It reveals a society deeply controlled by religion and the profound fear of the unknown. The entire structure of Egyptian life, its morality, its economy, its art, was built around preparing for this perilous journey. The priests and scribes who held the knowledge of these spells held immense power. The fear of the second death was a more effective tool for ensuring social order than any police force or army. To live a good life wasn't just a philosophical ideal. It was a practical necessity to avoid having your heart devoured. This complex, terrifying system was the ultimate form of social control, built on a universal human fear: what happens after we die? And maybe that fear isn't so ancient. We may not have Ammit waiting to eat our hearts, but don't we face our own daily judgments? The pressure to present a perfect life online, the fear of being canceled for a misspoken word, the quiet anxiety of imposter syndrome, wondering if we are truly good enough. We may not recite 42 negative confessions, but we meticulously curate our digital legacies, hoping our modern Book of the Dead, our photos, our posts, our life's work will leave behind a favorable record. The ancient Egyptian fear of being forgotten is now our fear of being irrelevant. The human desire to be found true of voice echoes through the millennia as loudly today as it did in the silent tombs along the Nile. And so, the journey ends. The story of this soul, a composite of millions of lives and beliefs, finds its conclusion in the quiet, unchanging fields of Aru. For 2 hours we have walked with them, felt their fear, and shared in their desperate hope for an eternal life. We have seen how an entire civilization dedicated its immense wealth, artistry, and intellect to conquering the great fear of what comes next. But the cold truth of history is this: the demons were belief, the guardians were superstition, and the Book of the Dead was a masterpiece of hope, written against the terrifying silence of the unknown. The journey was a psychological one, played out in the minds of millions over thousands of years. The true brutality wasn't just the monsters they imagined, but the crushing weight of a system that demanded a lifetime of anxiety and preparation for a test that may never have come. And it raises a final, quiet question just for you. As you lie here listening in the dark, think of your own life. Think of your own heart with all its complexities, its moments of kindness, its flashes of anger, its secret regrets and unfulfilled hopes. If it were you standing in the hall of two truths, what would the scales say? Would your heart be as light as a feather? It is a question that every human in their own way has had to ask themselves. Have I been good enough? But that hall is now ruins. The scales are broken. The gods are silent. Their world has turned to dust and memory. And you are not there. You are here. You are in your room, safe in your bed. The air you are breathing is real. The steady rhythm you hear is not the marching of a demon, but the soft hum of a fan or the quiet beat of your own heart. Feel the weight of the blanket over you. Feel the softness of the pillow beneath your head. There is no judgment here. There is only rest. Let the story fade. Let the images of the duat, the fire, and the endless fields dissolve like mist. They are just echoes, now whispers, from a world long gone. You have returned from your journey. You are no longer in history. You are in this moment, this quiet, peaceful moment. You are safe. You are quiet. You are breathing. Now, just let go and sleep.